right, here we go for the Magic Secrets podcast. This is really cool for me. I had a great weekend. I've got to credit, especially to my wife. I was going to go out to SCG Con in Orlando, mainly just to do some networking and talk to some people. But she actually suggested that I play competitively in the 10K tournament and or 10K top prize tournament. It's called a Spotlight, and it was terrific. It was great to play. It was the first tournament I played in 20 years, but it was really great for meeting people and for talking to people, for reaching out and meeting new people. Some of those new people are actually on right now. Gary's on, so that's great. Great to see him on. I'm going to make all of you guys panelists to allow you to come on and share your webcam, share your feedback. I got Lawrence on, panelist, Theory, panelist. Let's see, Lawrence, yep. Theory, panelist, yep. And then I will make Gary a panelist. Okay, great.
I hear you now. I don't know why I didn't hear you before. That's weird.
All right, great. Great to have you guys on. A little apologies for this first episode. We've got some terrific contractors in there here working on the house, so there'll be a little bit of noise back and forth as we go along, but hopefully nothing too bad. So Bryn, I've got your microphone. Lawrence, I heard you a second ago, so I know I've got you. Theory, anytime you want to make your microphone live, please do. That's great.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, man. Theory, for those of you who don't know, has been ranked as highly as number 7 on Arena, so he's quite a great player. Gary, see that we've got your audio?
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, glad you joined us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks for jumping on with us. This is great. Okay, and then we'll probably have be joined by more later. Any of you guys that want to cut your webcam on, feel free to do so. And if you don't want to have your webcam on, then that is just fine. Okay, great. We got Bryn's on. Lawrence is on. Great. Awesome. There's Theory. Got Gary. Hey, Gary. For those of you guys, so Gary's new. Gary's from the Orlando area. I didn't actually get a chance to play against him, which was great, but I did get the chance to talk to him. He actually used to work at a game store, and loves the game. He's still involved. He's a terrific person to talk to during the event, and he's just right in the area here with me. And we're trying to build this, trying to get a bunch of people going on this. Parker jumped on. This is exciting. Parker actually owns quite a nice successful business. So I'm going to try. So since Parker, since you're on via, it looks like mobile connection, I can't make you a webcam kind of panelist like the others, but I can unmute you. So if you feel like I'm muting, but I had a terrific brief chat with Parker. He's actually cool. The type of person who I didn't really think might be out there, but I'm glad that he is. Where he's somebody who he loves Magic, loves the game of Magic, and he actually built a business around it that's very successful. And he actually, in addition to that, has a digital agency as well. So he's literally perfect for our mastermind here. Gary, one of the aspects of this mastermind that David Mills and I are putting together with Magic Secrets is it's not just for friends and for gaming. It's definitely for friends and gaming, and it is first and foremost for that. But it's also intended to be a number of the people have very successful digital marketing agencies that are involved in this. Theory, for example, his agency that he has with another member of ours, John, is in the $80,000 a month range, around $1 million per year digital marketing agency. And they got their start with David Mills and I with OMG. Our first information product was, in essence, Magic Secrets, right, where we were teaching Magic over the shoulder. Then we did the OMG Mastermind and helped people like Theory and many others make millions of dollars. So it's really cool. We have a great blend of people. So super honored to have Parker jump on. I think that Parker's trying to probably jump back on his computer or something like that. Okay, so here's my organization for today. I've got, I think it's basically 3 kind of big content points to point to, and then there'll be a 4th little bonus one at the end. I'll talk just a little bit about Dota, which is another game, Defense of the Ancients 2. They're starting their TI tomorrow, which is their kind of world championship or so on. And David and I will be watching that. We'll be watching Falcons. So I want to invite any of you guys that want to kind of participate, be aware of that. I'll mention a few things at the end on that, because we want to be kind of a patron to broad games, not just to Magic. And so I really like getting other games noted and mentioned. David and I, it's funny because with me showing up to the event, it was, first of all, it was very cool. A lot of people like Gary, Parker came up to me and said, wow, they knew who I was and they respected me and had some great conversations with them. A lot of people, Parker was, it was the case with Parker where he said it had been actually literally very influential on his life, watching me play and so on as he came upon things, and that was influential. I had a lot of people who said I actually recorded a few videos. I should have shared some of them today. Maybe I'll do that for next time. But it was very meaningful for me. It was very meaningful for David. And so David and I got to talking about things. David Mills and I, we were number 1 and number 2 in the world concurrently in Magic. And David said, hey, we got to pull the plug on this. We got to go do something else because these people are not treating our brands very well. And that's really where a lot of Magic players are right now, and a lot of Magic spectators and fans and so forth. They really want something more than just what Hasbro or whatever is giving them right now. And so here we are. We're much more skilled in that way. Okay, great. So let's dig into things. We're going to dig into the content. Three major content segments I think are going to be enjoyable. One is I'll let you know what I played in Orlando and why I played it and how it went. I went 4-4. It was mainly, I probably could have rocked the tournament now in retrospect. Really, that first match that I lost to a Vivi deck, and just based on a play error, it really got me on a wrong track because then I was playing against all these blue-black decks that were busy getting pounded by Vivi. And that's what happens. I had the same thing at Nationals where I played Turbostasis and I was built to beat Necro, and I beat Necro. I beat it the first round. And so since I beat Necro the first round, I got to ride the Necro road, as I called it. Whereas, by losing the first round, I put myself in a bad position. Won some games in there. At some point I was 4-2, but really I put myself in a tough position where when I was 4-2, I say that maybe that's good, but I could have been 6-0. Because I really could have been feasting on those Vivi decks that I was pretty strongly built, to be pretty good against. Maybe, theoretically I was good against it, but who knows? So anyways, my event, I did a little pre-webinar for this on the Keeper. This is similar, very, very similar to what I played. I ran into another great Magic player, Shay. Shay had actually won a 10K at one point. He's quite terrific. We got to talking, comparing notes. And I actually decided to play. This is something similar to what I might have played before. I was kind of messing around with these Lockhorn whales, so I don't know if I actually would play those. But I was, messing around with different versions of this kind of 3-color, 2-color, and then 3-color builds. So I was going to play something that was like more, if I go back to the deck, more like 3 colors. I think it was fine that I didn't. It wouldn't have, I think, changed things one way or the other. Where I had Jeskai's Revelations. I do think Jeskai's Revelations is very cool. Yeah, it's right here. And we'll still play with it, though. It's going to be a major part of the metagame. But right now, I'll be focusing on kind of some other things. I mainly played a deck that was very similar. It just didn't have the 3rd color. And it had the Miss Morn guys. It had a 2nd Elspeth. And it had a couple of the dragons. So the dragons that you can draw cards with, and you play it, and you can return 2 land or creatures to somebody's hand. Anyways, it was a good deck. It was fine. I didn't play as many board wipes. That was something I learned from Shay. Definitely more. And I was kind of starting to realize this anyways on my own. The Seam Rip is really good disruptor for blue-white decks. So we're definitely going to be taking advantage of Seam Rip. I'll pull that up so we can just have that rip right here. Okay, so here's Seam Rip, and that's very disruptive, good against red, good against blue-black, stop them from, using ninjutsu as much, good against blue-red, and so on. So good against those aggressive decks, good against green-white. I played against a couple green-white decks. All right, so that's what I played. Would I play it again? Sure. What I decided to play was basically just as good as anything. And then, yeah, actually, although I'll tell you what I would have played. Like now, but in the sense that with the wisdom I have now, what I would have played, that's what I'm going to comment on next. And I think that's going to be interesting. So this is now, all right, so that's what I did. Now I'm going to get into kind of what I learned, right? given the pre-knowledge I had, given that I had forgotten about this Viper guy right here, which is a little silly of me, the Scalding Viper, then it was perfectly reasonable for me to play what I played. If I were to play another tournament before the Spider-Man set came out, or I'll show you what I would play. Like it's kind of neat. There's a real difference I learned in between the online and the in real life Magic. They're really playing different decks. A big part of it is money, but most people, I mean, it's crazy. 200 people, like 40% of the field played Vivi, which is, it's nothing like everyone here that's on this webinar that wasn't, like almost everyone you see was in Mythic in the last month, and you don't see that much Vivi in Mythic because I think it's getting splattered by, there's a lot of blue-white in Mythic, and I think it really has trouble with it, and they're kind of ready for it. Maybe I'm wrong, but you just don't see as much Vivi. You don't see 40% Vivi or anything of the sort, and you see a lot of the aggressive red decks. The deck that did win was red. I like that. I like the deck that took 8th much more. But he lost to the guy who won, and it was like just kind of a red on red mirror. There'll be slight sounds in the background. We'll just have to live with it, but it's worth it in the name of progress. I'll pull up. So this is what I would play if I could go back in time and redo the list for the tournament. This is what I would play. Now I'll get into this deck in the sideboard. I think this is a fun reveal. This is a fun way of looking at things. So this is a Vivi deck. It's the same type of deck that dominated 6 out of the top 8 were Vivi decks, but I've got a major difference, which I would play 4 Scalding Vipers. Now that what's interesting is I picked up on Scalding Viper again. I used to have, this is why I had 4 of them. I was using it before, but a long time ago, and probably over a year ago or whatever it was. And I just forgot about it for this cycle. I have no idea why. It's really the type of card you want to try to be aware of certain cards kind of at all times, and a card like this would be the type of card I'd expect to be sort of aware of in my Magic deck building. So Scalding Viper to me was one of the big breakthroughs. So basically there was a red deck that played 4 of these and 4 of the Razorkin. And I have them in the sideboard right here because I have kind of a radical sideboard here. One of the things that David and I did a fair amount of during our Magic career was we sideboarded land a lot. Very typical for us to have a couple lands in our sideboards to modify our deck really significantly. There were land destruction decks back in the way. That could be a reason. And there were a number of other reasons, cards that we wanted to play that we couldn't play otherwise. So this deck with a sideboard, I want you to view this very much as a whole deck, and not just as a game 1 deck. And game 1 decks now are just kind of fully a part of Magic in the sense that you can be, number 1 in arena just playing a game 1 deck, and that's so it's a real thing. But anyways, this is, I want you to see this as very much a 2 out of 3 deck. So what am I doing? Game 1. So instead of the Into the Flood Maws that everyone else is going to have, I'm going to have these Burst Lightnings. That's what I would do right now, because I think you're going to see a lot of these Razorkin Needleheads. I think you're going to see a ton of them, and you should see a ton of them because they're trouble for Vivi and they're trouble for blue-white. And a lot of decks can be drawing extra cards, and it can just be too much damage. Now, I had first considered putting 4 Razorkin Needleheads in the main deck. I think it's going too far. You're going to wind up without enough deck motion, basically. Like the Scalding Vipers really play well with the rest of Vivi. I tested this extensively a couple days ago. It was one of the things I knew I would have for this webinar and made me feel great about sharing it with you, is that probably a lot of people don't realize that it's super duper to play Scalding Viper in Vivi. It's extremely disruptive. I would say some of the science you need to know is that probably 2/3 of the time I'm using the bounce spell first, and then I'm using the adventure first, and then casting the Viper. A lot of times I'm holding it in my hand because that adventure spell is so powerful. So it's a super card. It replaces a lot of your need. Now it can be great paired with Flood Maw. I would play, like, for example, if I was playing in an arena, and I'll show you this in a second, one of the main differences is I would still play Flood Maw on arena instead of Burst Lightning, because in real life, I think you're going to see a lot of these Razorkin needleheads, and you might even see some of these Vipers that I'm talking about. So you really want those things dead. Like, you want them gone and dead. And I even have 4 more Torch the Towers in my sideboard to make sure they stay dead. And should that Torch the Tower be Shock? Well, maybe it should be. So we can test that. But anyways, either Shock or Torch the Tower. You could play 2 and 2, but that's why I have that in there. So the idea would be that you'd probably drop your Soulstone Sanctums unless there was something else you really felt like you could get rid of, but probably not. So you probably drop your Soulstone Sanctums. You bring in these 2 mountains. Now you're going to be a lot faster mana-wise. You're not going to be as you're losing some of the man-land power. I've got 4 man-lands in my version, which I think is a good number. I tested 6, didn't like it. Felt like 4 was the right number because I really did miss the. Sometimes you need the Thundering Falls being an island or a mountain. Sometimes you need that to power up the Verge. Okay. This is a little bit, whatever. It's just 1 card to just crush the artifact deck. Then the Flood Maws, you'd kind of bring it in for anything that you would have been better off, taking out Burst Lightning. You need to get rid of some permanents or something like that. Want to bounce them, whatever. And that could be, that's probably the right card. And then you'd bring in. So the point is, in Mirror, you'd really become the nightmare. Game 1, first of all, they don't want to see this for sure in the Mirror, and I don't know how they're going to win game 2 and 3 if you've consistently, if you've got 4 Vipers and 4 Razorkin and they got neither, because you're really punishing them for that 2 cast spot where that often isn't that punishing for this blue-red deck. It can be, right? You can come out really fast swinging with a Shark. You can come out really fast swinging, I guess cast a memory turn 2, especially if you have turn 1 this guy, or you can cast this guy turn 3. But anyways, you're kind of coming out swinging in a very different way with the Needleheads and with the option of having the Viper. So this is neat. And if we have extra time and you guys feel like watching me play, I suppose I could play a game with it. Okay, great. So that covers a lot. That was a lot of content right there. So let me go into a second in real life deck. Let me save the changes. Whatever changes I made were probably good. So this is, I'll quickly pull up the arena version so you can see the arena version, but it's literally very similar. It's just got those Flood Maws, right? And then instead of the blue-red kill spell that I had, whatever it was called, I'll pull it back up. I'm playing with these Quantum Riddlers instead. Why is because it's literally a much slower environment online. It's not all this red, like everything is not red, blue, black, and especially Vivi. So just very similar. And again, it's got the Vipers, and then I don't have a board built for this because I'd probably just play this game once. Okay, I just wouldn't have the patience. Okay, so that's that for that. Now I'm going to show you 2 more decks that you can play right now in the current meta, and then I'm going to take a break to see if you guys had any comments about what I just said before going into Spider-Man. Well, we will go into the Spider-Man spoiler. So this is a deck you can play right now, and this is a nice deck as we start transitioning to talking about Spider-Man, because this is a deck that gets a lot better with Spider-Man. So it's kind of a couple of cool reasons to go over it. One is to look at it now and have fun with it now, but another is that in a few days when Spider-Man comes out, then we can put Aunt May in here. She'll make it a little bit better, and we'll especially put the Spider-Verse land in that will make it much better, and we'll go over that when we get to that. And the reason why is we're going to be able to play 4 Amalias very easy with our mana base. Right now we have 12 sources of black, and we're really bursting at the seams by having 6 black spells for only 12 sources of black. That's kind of a no-no, but there's nothing else to do. There's no other good answer here. Every other answer is just a bad answer. So you just sit there and just say, hey, Smitty does this sometimes. I've seen him get away with it. He was doing it with Ivy. I kind of got it from Smitty. It's a little bit reckless mana build. I'm not happy with it, but I'm also not happy just, I could play 5 of these. Like, for example, I could do this and then maybe play a 4th of the Halia or something like that. I don't know the answer. There's basically, the point is that there's no perfect answer, but I played a lot with this deck and it's dangerous. Good deck. Very similar to playing mono white. You could play exactly the same thing, just drop these 12 lands for planes. But then now you're gonna be playing with the ley lines. The white ley line can make your white creatures very, very big, very fast. But I've started with this in my opening hand a lot of times and lost. Well, I mulliganed recently because that's actually what led to me building this deck. Was I had 3 of these in my opening draws and I had to throw it away. It wasn't even close to a good hand. So I was thinking, I could just take some damage, screw the ley line, screw trying to get up to 27 life. This guy, by the way, is really, really, really good. It might be an obvious 4 of. If we play it a bit more, maybe I'm not sure. Although that seems a bit sketchy to say an obvious 4 of. 3 really seems to be stretching it. I mean, I would definitely drop. I'd be thinking that we're dropping one of these for Aunt May when she comes out. I'll show Aunt May in a second. She's basically give you a 5th one of these hinterland sanctifiers essentially, although doesn't have 1 power. Okay, so yeah, what are we doing here? Obviously, we're just making these guys that get bigger when we gain life. I really like having 2 more of them. We'll be able to go up to 4 of them. Again, what will we drop? Probably this Arieth is just, she's good, but at the same time, I don't know, she's pretty good. You probably want one of these, I don't know, but I only have 18 lands, so I'm kind of ambivalent. I'd love to get lost and Ghosts. There's something about having played more at the pro tournament, or at not the pro tournament, this spotlight, and I just kind of got a better feel for it. I think Get Lost right now is pretty good in the meta. Okay, so this is a deck, and I'll go over the changes. So mainly, well, I'll go over the changes when we get to Spider-Man. So I'll discard changes here. Let's go to another deck that can be played right now. This deck comes from Doug. Doug beat me. So my wife has been talking to me about Indestructible because she's seen me play some, and she doesn't know a lot about Magic, but she's seen me lose to Indestructible when I'm playing 1 or 2 decks. I don't remember if she saw it twice or once, but it made a big effect on her, and she thought it was pretty cool. So I went ahead and tried this last night. It was quite good. So basically, the guy had a green-white deck. Doug had a green-white deck. Let me see if I can flash it for you really quick here. He actually was nice enough to send it to me. I'll cut my screen share for a second and then flash it on my video camera and see if this is going to give us a good view. There we go. So it's basically like a green-white beatdown deck. It's really got some clever stuff in it that he's doing with. I didn't actually see all of it, but he has Gear Hulks, which is going to make Dan go crazy. Dan's going to love it. Had some other cards I actually didn't see, but he gets this guy out really fast if you guys have seen him and so forth. Anyways, what I mainly got out of the deck, though, was how disruptive Tyvar can be, and that's what I did. I lost to Tyvar. So there's more to be, we can look more at Doug's deck maybe next week. That was a little bit of a preview. He did have, I think, the whatever the hell you call this guy. But I was really impressed at how disruptive the Tyvar is for a blue-white deck, which is what I was playing. And then I threw 3 of them in the deck, and his power is just really good in this deck. I wasn't really planning on his 2 green and 3 colorless power being so important, but it was great when I started playing with him. So much so I started with 2, I went up to 3, and I felt great about it. I had 2 bills and I dropped a bill for a 3rd one. I felt like, man, between that and your overprotect, now we really are the indestructible. I put Tyvar T. Of course, this is a bit of a Tifa deck where we're trying to grow big, either grow a Hydra or this Orobroid. This guy is really cool, by the way. I expect this guy's value to go up, by the way, those of you that are interested in any sort of real life ownership or speculation. I do expect the Orobroid to continue to crush, and I mean, probably even better decks will be made with him. Not necessarily better than this one way or the other, but great decks maybe will be made. This deck's quite nice, quite fast. The Bushwhack is your little green plowshare. You can kill stuff with it very often. deck is kind of disruptive with all these snakeskin bales and the overprotect, and just a fun deck all around. Of course, it's a little flat, but boy, it can be fast. I was playing with the blue-red deck, and I lost a couple to this deck, and I thought, man, if it had these Tyvars, it could be really strong. So I put it in there, and I felt the Tyvar really played itself, really vindicated himself strong. Okay, so that I think is the end of what I have to say about standard before getting into Spider-Man. So let me take a break from, oh my gosh, I just did the last whole thing without screen share, didn't I? Yeah, I was supposedly going over decks and not going over decks. I see what I was doing. All right, so here's the Tyvar deck one more time. Pull that back up. So it's got these Orobroids to get really big. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a X+1/+1 counter for each creature you control for however big the Broid is. So if you make the Broid big, everyone gets really, really big, and things get out of hand really fast. It really makes it so, you know, your Llanowar elves become extremely menacing and so forth. And just as a pretty neat deck. But it's this Tyvar the Pummeler that I really keyed upon from Doug. Doug's from New York. He's a pretty innovative deck designer, really had some neat stuff going on with that deck. But mainly I just saw Tyvar come out and really control me by me not being able to really get rid of it very well. And so I put together this deck. This is something that Smitty and I have tested with Dan quite a bit. And usually we'd have in the space of the Tyvar, usually we'd have something to kind of quickly put a couple lands in play really fast and really explode the combo. But I felt like you're just kind of better off solidifying and playing it this way. So that is Tyvar. And just so you guys know, yes, that, oh my gosh, Michael Landis Spears jumped on with us. That's awesome. Let me make him a panelist. Just for you guys to know, he's Michael's an OMGer, very successful. He's a multimillionaire now. He's been successful in all walks of the OMG life. He's been successful with his with affiliate, with you know, powering up affiliate site with backlinks. He was using backlinks from Becker's link blog that me and Greg and David helped him with from back in the day, and so that was really neat. And then he got into Amazon, did well with Amazon. He sold the affiliate business, went to Amazon, did well with Amazon, sold the Amazon business, went into CBD SEO right at the beginning of that wave, did terrific with that. Then he did some cool services, a lot along the lines of we've been talking to you guys a lot about doing stuff on Upwork where you can perform services for other people. Michael got into performing services for people, did really well with that. And then he put together an agency for with his city SEO, which is London SEO. So he's done all of those things. Plus he's done some cool crypto investment with some people that he met in that OMG era and so forth, and some other stuff that he's done. He now owns some real estate. So it's really cool to have Michael on. And Michael, I made you a panelist. So if you feel like turning on your webcam or audio, and Michael is a gamer from back in the day, so I thought it'd be great if he jumped in and started playing Magic with us. He played a little bit with David at OMG Live 2016. He was recounting, so he's got a little bit of a space, and I saw his microphone come on for a second there. Hey, Michael, how you doing? And it's back off. Okay, well, Michael, if you feel like saying hi, you can. All right, so that explains a little bit who Michael is, and I invited him to come on today. I'm glad he did. All right, so before I get into Spider-Man, I covered a bunch of decks there. Bryn, Lawrence, Theory, Gary, any questions, comments? Gary, please.
Okay, so I went 4-4 just like you did on day one, but the deck that I designed did make day two.
Nice.
And so it's Boros Burn. So we were using the Boros charm, but what we did is to counteract the VV deck, it was the Clarion, the 3/3 dragon that would freeze
you
up
and I
everything.
talked about this. It's
Yeah.
a white and 2 colorless for a
Yes.
3/3 dragon, and I thought this had potential. It was one of the cards that did stand out to me when that set came out. Let me pull it up so we can see. Let me see if I've got any sort of a burn deck that bears any sort of a similarity to what.
I wish I would have sent it to you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. We can maybe look at it on another webinar. Okay, so let me. So Clarion and dragon. The reason I bring this up is this is the type of card that will recur. It's a disruptive card that will probably have other times. It is a dragon, isn't it? I may not own it.
Yes.
Let me change the filter. Yeah, I don't think I own any yet. Where is it? Oh, here he is. I do own him. I own one of them. Okay, so activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers cannot be activated, and pretty great 3/3 flying beatdown while we're at it. Let me see. I feel like I pulled away the good. Let me check the go to webinar controls here. Yeah, I'm not showing my screen. Let me show my screen again. So here's this Clarion. So you were main decking 4 Clarions?
Just 2. So my original list that I was playing on Arena that got me into top 400 on Mythic, it was
Yeah.
originally 3 Hellkites, but the day before I changed out, I took
Which are the Hellkites?
Two.
Are the Hellkites the
the
haste dragon?
the warp dragon,
Yeah,
who's
that's
incredibly
a super
powerful.
card.
So because we knew that there was a lot of VV, we went down 2 Nova Hellkites and 2 Clarions, which was really good because just putting it on turn 3 after like their turn 2 is sometimes the artifact, and then in our turn 3 it makes them have to like deal with the dragon. So
Right.
sometimes
They have well, and deal with for them is, what do they have? They have some Maws,
sometimes they have to
bounce
flood.
back,
Yeah,
and then they
flood.
maybe have a couple of raids or something, but they don't have an embarrassment of riches against it.
Like Zevin Faust, who I had to face, that was one of my losses. He had to actually torch and sacrifice his fear of missing out because it's an enchantment in order to do the 3 damage to the actual to the dragon. But the other thing is since we have access to Boros Charm, in response to him doing all that, we could actually play Boros Charm as a defense spell to make it indestructible.
I've
So,
lost
yeah,
to, again, this is, I mentioned that my wife loves
yeah,
Indestructible. And keep in mind that Boros Charm, because sometimes you get so used to using it one way, which
hmm
just the 4 damage to a player or planeswalker is so fabulous.
yeah. A turn. I'm sorry,
By the
Mike.
way, 4 damage, typically enough to clear out the ninja, as long as they don't get paranoid and stick the banner on him.
Yeah, the VV prowess deck that I faced, I really made my opponent like question what he was doing because we went with a turn 2 plot slick shot into a turn 3 bolt wave. So he plays out the 3/3 haste guy to
So
swing
you were
in.
playing Slickshot. Why don't I just go ahead and build
Yeah.
your deck now, since you like that?
Okay. Here, let me get my
Let's go
computer.
Boros Charm here.
So Boros Charm, Lightning Helix, Burst Lightning, which I definitely think Burst Lightning's great in the VV deck, like you were mentioning earlier. I think that it's got great reach.
And you also just kick it up a lot. You just have the mana and you can just kick it so easy in the VV deck.
Right.
Because
We're
like 5
playing
mana can
higher.
just be nothing to you. You can have it like just sitting around, just waiting for you. Let me just get rid of
So,
all this.
and that was another thing that was awesome about Lightning Helix. It's like if we have the Abrade in the hand, we're normally, either hitting the artifact or hitting the creature for 3.
Yeah, because
But
this
then
is a deck that'll
Helix,
probably get better with a Spiderland. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into it. What are some of the other cards so I can spell it out?
Hired Claw is in there as well, which is great against the blue-black
So,
matchup.
so dragon wise, we have the Clarion Conqueror, probably 2 or 3. You said 2 of those. And
Yeah,
then we
one
have the
Nova, one Nova Hellkite,
one Nova Hellkite. Find them.
4 Screaming Nemesis.
Yeah, this guy's great right now.
Yeah, the Screaming Nemesis has been great. Like I said, against the blue-black matchup, I was able to warp Nova Hellkite to destroy the bat that took a Burst Lightning.
Oh yeah.
And then so he's got now it's the 1/3 with Vigilance with a 1/1 counter from the map token that would make things with base power 2. But before that ability went off, we were able to use the Burst Lightning to hit Screaming Nemesis to deal the damage. So his
Yeah.
lifelink Death Touch, the new Nighthawk.
Yeah,
essentially.
you undid the combo
Yeah.
for him. Yeah, and he just died exactly. What are some of the other
Yeah.
cards? You have any other one drops?
So yeah, 1-drop. So it's called Grease Wrench Goblin. It's out of Aether Drift.
Yeah,
It's a
these guys have
2.
sure, and then
Yeah. So
some sort of a goblin called
yeah.
Grease
So
Wrench Goblin. Oh, this guy. Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah, that guy's incredibly great because if you're somehow in doing a mana flood, you're just gonna exhaust him to discard your extra lands. Two opera love songs.
Yeah.
Um, opera love songs also a big card. Unfortunately, it's asking me to update my whole entire account on Arena with a birthday
Yeah,
and
don't worry about it.
everything.
You can just give me
So,
the gist of it. Whereas
okay.
33 cards, there's probably 7 or so, or how many lands are you? 22 lands?
So it's 21 lands. It's 2 starting towns, 4 inspiring vantages, 4 sacred foundries.
Yeah, it'll be mostly the red white lands, right?
Right.
The obvious ones here real fast. Here we go. Here we go. And then, so you got those, you got 10.
We have the verges as well. The original plan was it was 4 verges, but we went down to 3
And
because
then the rest is
sometimes you just end up with 2 verges in your hands and it's just not that great because it's double white. You know, they're dead. So we went down to 3. And
okay.
then another
So you just had 3 verges?
yeah, just 3 verges and then all the basics were mountains.
Yeah, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21. Okay, that's 21 lands. So there's probably 6 more spells that you have in here.
Okay, so 2 Voice of Victories. The original Boros list from like 4 weeks ago had the Emberheart Challenger.
How many of these?
2 Voice of Victories.
Just 2. Yeah, these guys, are great card. I lost to it.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in.
Maybe a couple times. Obviously, it's good against me, but still. All right, what else you got?
How many cards are we missing right now?
4.
4. We have the Burst Lightnings, Voice of Victories.
Lightning, any more direct damage?
I think that was
Only
it.
21
The
lands. So everything else, like maybe some more 1-drops of some sort.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab actually my deck box right here since I have it. It's
Sure.
just one card that's not. I think it's gonna be a 4 of. So,
Probably
the
a
slick
1-drop.
shot. The slick shot.
Yeah, he's right here.
Or no, okay, I see it. Yeah.
Should just be a second for him to
Oh,
figure it out.
Bolt wave.
Yeah,
Bolt
of course.
wave.
There you go. Yeah, I knew you were missing
Yeah.
one.
No, I was like, yeah, like I said, we've done a turn 3 where we bolt wave and then Boros Charm giving it double strike to where slick shot deals 10 and bolt wave does 3. So our turn
Yeah.
3 we've swung in for 13 damage.
Yeah, so that was good. Hopefully you win that game. Okay, great. All right, great.
That morning of day 2, I was playing on Arena because we still had like 7 hours until the end of the season, and I played a Jeskai Vivi that splashed white just for so then they had get losses in their deck. So there was that one, and then it was the blue green version of that Ouroboros thing with the guy that puts all the counters on. The blue green version is incredibly powerful as well because of just having 2 of those Ouroboros guys with flood mauls, and they're both giving counters, and it triggers twice.
Awesome, great. All right, great comments. Awesome. Did anybody else have any other comments before I go into the Spider-Man spoiler? Any other thoughts? Great.
Yeah, just looking forward to seeing those
I
crushing reports
know
come
this
in.
is so much. You guys are
1 day
getting
in, 10 days
this
in.
heavy duty wave of content there. Which of any of the decks that I showed have any appeal to you guys right now?
One of them. I like the green and the red white, which is solid. I tried the mono red from the tournament. That one pretty good. The red white looks pretty violent.
You like that red white deck? Great.
Yeah.
Theory might like Gary's deck. That's really cool. Awesome.
Yeah, the guy who piloted and made day 2, he changed the deck by taking out the grease wrench goblins, and we put the main deck Razor guy, and right now he's
The
diamond.
Razor guy probably would have been good in the main.
And then we put the red white dragon, the omen dragon that deals 5 damage to target creature that can't fly.
Yeah, let me pull that guy up.
That's a really like I only had that deck built a week before the tournament, and then we did some, mixing around. But like, if I would have had more time, I definitely would have. That Viper guy is definitely a real threat. I've played against the mono red list with the
Yeah, I'm
Viper.
telling you guys, this Viper, he's really fun, and he'll continue to be a good card. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight him so hard today.
Yeah, and then like I said, there was a guy that did he's mono red, but he's splashing blue for the red verges or the red blue verges, and he's
Yeah,
playing the
that was the
Viper.
guy who made top 8. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was hoping that guy was going to win. Actually, that was where a
yeah,
lot of the that's where a lot of this thought came out of. That guy's deck was great.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I saw that list. I took a screenshot of it through the news feed. I was like, this is like super powerful. Like I played 2 copies of Fire Magic in my sideboard just because of the 1 power toughness stuff. And that's what helped out my like I only played VV twice out of those 8 rounds. My losses was really bad land flood against synthesizer, and
Yeah.
then that 4 color control. Like I said, Jeskai Revelation.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
try and kill. You can kill one target, but because it targets 2 things, it's still gonna go off. Like the
Yeah,
Mardu spell, you can at least target your own threat or that they
right,
target,
exactly.
then
So
it
the Jeskai
fizzles.
Revelation,
But the
exactly.
Jeskai Revelation doesn't,
Not
and I was
fizzles,
like,
it's rough.
man, so rough.
Absolutely. Okay, great. All right, let's jump into the spider spoiler. Let's jump into the spider spoiler. So this will be fun. We can continue. I plan on doing this as a weekly podcast, so we can continue, of course, to delve into Spider-Man as we go. So right now I'm on MTG Salvation, and so the big card of this set, of course, is the land. So we'll just start there. This is, no matter how big of a deal people think this is, it's still a bigger deal. So here we go. Where is it? Is it not in here? Is it not getting printed? Well, that'd be great. So land, let's check the other sets. So maybe the Spider-Verse is just for other sets. So let me see, magicspoiler.com. Let's check that and see. So we'll do the Spider-Man spoiler here. All right, let's see what we got here. This is a little bit less organized than the other spoiler. They just may not have spoiled it yet. Winds of Change.
So,
That's a great. This is this old classic Spider-Man cover. I remember this. This is
yeah, one of the first black suit Spider-Mans right
that
there.
was really cool. I remember that cover. That's cool that they did that. I'm really glad for the health of the game that they're doing. See, again, some of the things that they're doing, I'm going to root on. When Hasbro and Wizards are doing good things, you're going to hear it from me. I'd love to tell you. And then, of course, the way that they're blatantly absurd about abusing their players' brands and stuff like that, then I'm going to be critical and even take action. So let's see, where's the Spider-Verse?
So they changed the website for MTG Salvation. If you go back to that main page, Mike, there's a little box that says view all spoilers on that first page, and then that will get you that where Aunt May starts and all that stuff. So if you go back it's like a blue button that says view all spoilers, and then I think it'll put it where you need. Yeah, right there, that blue one that says
view all spoilers. Where is it?
yeah, right there underneath VV, where it says view all spoilers.
Where was it?
Scroll down, or there was a button that said view all
Oh,
spoilers.
view all spoilers. Yeah.
And then as soon as you click that, then it'll go to the Spider-Man where it starts with Aunt May.
Okay. Does this have all of them now?
Yeah, and then scroll down, and then you can kind of go into.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing the land. I mean, they've spoiled it before and they put it on Wizards of the Coast site, so I know it exists, but I just don't know. You never know exactly what's for play and what's not for play.
Yeah, I think the name of it's
okay.
Multiversal Passage. And
yeah, so that's a real card, right? Yeah, it's right here.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. All right. So what is this card and what does it do? So it's a land that's any land type you need it to be, any basic land type you need it to be. It can be a mountain, it can be a forest, right? It can, of course, it can activate verges, and it can give you any color mana. The cost is like a shock land, okay? So what does this do for us? What are we gonna do with this? So let's go into several decks that we can change based on this card. There are other cards in the spoiler, of course, but I'm gonna mostly focus for this first webinar on multiverse passage. So let's start with Spider Elf VV, right? Spider-Man version of Elf VV. Let's see what that gives us. So I'm going to pull up. This is something that Dan was working on last month. I liked it, but I didn't seriously consider it for the pro tournament because it just kind of gets flooded with mana. If you have 22 lands and you have 4 elves in VV, you're just going to run too short. I mean, you're going to have some explosive games, but you're going to have some slow games. I'm pretty sure that the right number is 20 when you have 4 elves. That's going to give you about the same amount of overall land mana. You should count the elves as 2 mana, not 4, but 2, not 0, but 2. Especially if you can cast them, which this deck can. So this Bag-Lost layer is my proxy for that multiversal passage. So of course I'm not going to play Bag-Lost layer or whatever the hell it is. And I'm not actually using, in this particular deck, I'm not using any verges, but I really wanted to have 16. You could get by with 14, by the way. 14 is a reasonable number for the Llanowar Elves. If you feel like cutting back on 2 stomping grounds or something like that and having 2 mountains instead, or maybe at that point it could be great to have 2 verges if you just want a little bit more blue. This version is going to have 16 blue, 16 red, and 16 green. When you have that'll tell you something right away for a bunch of different decks, which is it's real easy to get to 16 blue, 16 green, and 16 of a third color, right? So red, blue, and green in this case, with just 20 lands. Okay, so that's a very big deal for the numbers in Magic. The question here is going to be, are you taking too much damage from your lands? Because we have the starter towns and the Spider-Verses and the stomping grounds. So that's a lot. Would I prefer, for example, the stomping grounds be the red-green bassland that they used to have, like the canal? Yes, I would prefer that, but we didn't have that as an option. So I think this is going to be fun. Is it going to be tier 1? Hard to say. Maybe there's going to be an emergency banning anyway, so you don't really know, but this is how I would build it. I'm sure this is going to be a heck of a lot of fun to play, guys. It's going to play faster, way faster than your typical Vivi deck, way faster. Of course, you're going to lose some games getting your elves blown out, or I suppose not being able to cast them, although that almost can't happen. Just if you have your spine bluff canals. So that's going to be a fun deck. Fun deck to do. My guess is that this is better than straight up VV. My guess is that this is going to be better. So we shall see. Got to test it to see. Deck number 2, I call Spider Bazooka. We had Bunny Bazooka for a while. Now this you even saw some of this at the tournament. It's just that green-white mana base is so hideous. This is going to be our proxy this time for multiverse passage. But I particularly wanted to highlight the green-white nature of it, so I picked this. So I just picked it as a land that it could be. So here we have 16 green, 16 white, right? If this is multiversal passage, it can be either a forest or a plains for 2 life, basically, is what it can do. Okay, so what do we got here? We got a fast deck, a fast fun deck. It's dangerous to play elves with this type of deck because you can get flooded. This deck could definitely get flooded. It's possible you can get away with 18 lands. So, if you're feeling frisky, but it's going to be tough to hit. And it's, again, really tough to hit 16 of each land when you've got this many basics. This is where green-white is still suffering from the land situation right now. And the verges won't necessarily, they're usually, you've got 12 basic land types that are all going to power up your verges and make them green-white lands, but you may not draw them. Anyways, this deck is relying on a major mono combo that Dan Burdick spotted. in our testing, and I've tested it. It's insane. So if you cast a Seraphic Seed on turn 2, and if you warp Exalted Sunborn on turn 3, then when you attack with the Seraphic Seed, you're going to get, first of all, you're going to be able to mount him just with the Exalted Sunborn. You won't have to cast anything else to make the saddle 4 of the Seraphic Steed. And instead of just getting 1 3/3 flyer, you get 2, and it's backbreaking. I've played it every single time I've done that combo. I've won. Of course, somebody could recover, right? Simple, well, you can say simple as, because you're not really losing much. You've got a lot still left in the tank, but they could do not lockdown, but the white and 1 thing that's kind of a 3 casting cost. Star Cage. You could do Star Cage, the artifact that would kill all 2 casting cost or less. So you know, they have something, but this gives red, green, white so much more than it had otherwise. And then other than that, you're just a fun, fast green, white deck that doesn't have too many of these Season Warren Guards in it. These Bristly Bills are actually proxies for another card that's in the Spider-Man set. So I'll pull that up. That'll give us another reason to talk about the Spider-Man set. I'm not going to talk about too many cards from it, but I'll talk about a few. And then we'll continue to spoil this as we get closer to the release date. It'll make every week a little bit more fun. Spider-Ham, Peter Porker. Okay, so we look at this guy, zoom in on him. And he is going to be a 2/2 legendary creature. We'd play, certainly play 4 of them if we could, but you know, definitely don't want to with it being a legend. So 2 is a fine number. It could be 1, but I think you probably pay 2. And he's going to give spiders, boars, bats, bears, birds, cats, dogs, frogs, jackals, lizards, mice, otters, rabbits, raccoons, rats, squirrels, turtles, and wolves, all +1/+1. So that's great for this deck, because that is going to be every creature except for, it doesn't give unicorns. Why is Spider-Ham prejudiced against unicorns, you son of a bitch? It really would be nice, by the way. You think I'm joking, but that's pretty nasty of him not to be prejudiced. He's a unicorn. He's not happy with Zebu. We call this guy Zebu. I've got a great Zebu story. I'll tell you guys some other time if we ever get this deck really rocky, but it's a great story and great lessons in it. Okay, great. So we've got this, you know, the Bristol Bill again is a proxy for a guy that's going to be a fine 2/2 beater, and then give everything else besides your elf and your angel and your seed. So, you know, maybe you play one of them. I don't know. You could play the green white enchantment, the anthem, to give things a little bit more size if you want to. But I thought it'd be fun to play at least 1 Spider-Ham in the deck. But the main innovation, obviously, for this deck, this Restless Perry is a proxy for it, is this multiversal passage that we really want to play with, because it's going to give us all kinds of options that we would not have had with that deck. Okay, let's go on. Go back to our decks, and let's go into what we would do with this Life Death deck. So once again, we're going to pop in on this. We highlighted this earlier. What are the changes we're going to make? Well, for one thing, we're going to drop 2 more planes. We're going to add 2 Spiderlands. I'm just going to grab any old land and stick it in there. Hidden Necropolis. Sounds good. Okay, so these are going to be our multiversal passages. That's going to keep us at 18 white, because it's going to put us up to the magical number of 14. At the number of 14, now I feel good about going up to 8 black creatures. I'm going to drop one of these and something else. Oh, and I want an Aunt May too. I could see going down to 2 Halia or 1 Halias. I'm really loath to play more than one of a legend unless it's just a superstar. I would definitely play an Aunt May. There's no reason not to. I'll show Aunt May off here real quick. She's right here. Cooking Peter Parker his favorite porridge. Okay, she's an 0/2 legendary creature, human citizen. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. If it's spider, give it a counter. That's not relevant for this deck, but that's going to give us 1 more kind of hinterland sanctifier in essence. So we can drop 1 card to do that. And then we want the 4th sanctifier. So I would do, you know, even though she's a lifelink, it is attractive that she's lifelink. It's hard. I don't know what to take. Could drop one of your flyers. Pick something. I'll drop a flyer for now and just stick some random legend in here. They have a bunch of. Just stick this guy in here. So he'll be Aunt May for now. And then this would be a cool post spider deck. This is gonna be a powerful deck, folks. What led me to this deck is like flat out, I bet that this white deck is favored if it starts its opening hand with one of these guys, is my guess. Like my guess is if you had all the data from Wizards of the Coast, when people are playing this on Arena, if you start with one of these in your hand, you're so likely to get, you know, you have 4, 8, 12, 16 good 1-drops. You're really likely to get one of those good 1-drops. If you do that and then one of these guys, you know, you're probably going to win. You might not. Of course you might not, right? Of course. I'm just saying I bet you're favored. And so once you put in Amelia, and you could say, well, she won't necessarily grow, but I think her power is, given that the other 2 just flat out grow, I think her power is super. I love getting the extra land from it, and I love the kind of the card motion and going through cards I don't want. So I think this is gonna be a super deck. I think this is gonna be very dangerous. It's got terrific removal package. It's disruptive from the Cavern Bats, and the Cavern Bats really fit in. So I think Life Death, it's a kind of a standby name. I can definitely come up with a better name, I'm sure. But for now, we'll call it that. And that will be yet another great sneak peek for the upcoming set. So I think that let me see if that cleared through all the decks that I had hearted and planned on covering today. Covered a lot, right? We did. We covered everything. Was that pretty badass?
Yes.
Hell
I
yeah.
thought that'd be pretty badass. I thought you guys would really like that.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna put the replay of this up on probably David suggested I put it on the OMG Machines YouTube page. So when I'm ready with that, I'll send that out. Guys, tell your friends, if you have friends that play Magic, they're welcome to jump on with us. I'm gonna be doing this weekly. One of the things that David Mills has pointed out is that friendship is really at a low ebb these days, just with the way the world is, all the crazy things that have gone on from COVID to everything else, all the crazy things in the news, and people have kind of grown further apart. It can be harder to make friends. It's a great place to make friends, great place to work your mind out. And if you're interested in making more money, then we're going to be talking more and more about that. Lots of big things to come. In fact, one of the things I do want to highlight is that Bryn and Lawrence actually did some Upwork work. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Really appreciative of you guys doing that and sent it over to Josh. What was that like for you guys? Was it just in retrospect a little eye-opening? It's kind of you're going on, instead of logging into Magic, you're logging into Upwork and just doing some beginning stuff. Bryn, do you have any thoughts? And Lawrence, you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, Lawrence?
It was both simpler than I expected, but also a lot of what I expected. You guys prepared us pretty well for it, so it was yeah, pretty easy. A lot more jobs than otherwise would have figured before going in there. So yeah, seems like a lot of opportunity. Pretty
Good,
cool.
good. And it's something we're going to build on and build on and grow from. Bryn, did you have any thoughts from it?
Yeah, very curious to see what happens, let's say 10 days in, 100 days in, etc. And then basically ourselves and then other people who take this seriously. Yeah, I did find it took quite some kind of creative engagement from my end and probably from Lawrence's end too. But yeah, it was all good. Yeah, it was nice.
Well, we have the small group on WhatsApp. Maybe you guys drop the links in that you showed me, and Theory and John can look it over as well. Theory and John have a ton of Upwork experience. Theory, did you have any comments on any of the deck lists we went over or anything we went over today?
What I said earlier, I like the Robroid card, like the blue green with the counters. That's an insane card. Try that too. The Scalding Viper, I haven't tried that. I'm gonna try that. And then I'm gonna bring somebody on next week, actually, Peter Turner.
Oh, great.
Well, if he wants. I told him, like, I'm not sure if he's gonna come
Yeah,
on.
whenever you're bringing somebody new on, bring them on. And we're a very small podcast right now. You know, someday this may be a very, very big podcast. But for now, it's very small and tight knit. I'd love for you guys, you know, bring your friends on, and if you have a referral, bring them on. It's great, and then people will more and more enjoy the replay. So it's going to grow very organic. I have more really great news from you guys. My wife, after things were over, she reflected on things, and you know, she said that she would even like it if I traveled around, you know, of course us together, not to get rid of me, guys. We're going together. And do more of this, and you know, she believes in the vision that David and I have to help Magic players, A, to have more fun, but B, to enjoy the game more thoroughly, because their brands are more respected, and they've got more advantages and all kinds of things that David and I want to do for the gaming world. We want to help really help people understand. By the way, David Mills' Law of Implication YouTube channel is just filled with things that will help you with Magic the Gathering. All of the lessons that I have for Magic the Gathering come from David Mills and my experience playing with him, and they're very much informed by that. Also, you can go to anytime you want, you can go to magicsecrets.com/thank-u, should be one word, but still thank-u, and that's where mine and David's most recent book is, and you can read for free, and you can also reach our previous book, Magic Secrets, on there as well, MTG Secrets on there as well. So that's magicsecrets.com/thank-u, and it's a great starting movement. Want to thank Gary for jumping on. I want to thank also Parker jumped on with us a little bit earlier. I saw him flash on. We had Michael and Spears come on, a good group, and of course all of you guys here. Really enjoyed it. I think Gary won some new fans, shared some really cool stuff today. So it's great to have you a part of things as well, Gary. And we'll continue to build from here. I'll see you guys next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. God bless each of you guys. I pray to Jesus for you guys' health and success every day. Right. God bless guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.